Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the language your ancestors spoke for thousands of years is nearly extinct. The words that once echoed through California's valleys and coastlines are now fading. But native tribes across the state are refusing to let that happen. Through passion, perseverance, and modern technology, they are breathing life back into their ancestral languages. Let's explore how these communities are reclaiming their linguistic heritage and ensuring their voices are never silenced. For thousands of years, the indigenous peoples of California spoke languages that echoed through the redwood forests, across the rolling hills, and along the sunlit coastline. These languages carried not just words, but stories, traditions, and the spiritual connections of entire civilizations. Yet, with colonization, forced assimilation, and the passage of time, many of these languages faded, nearly silenced by history's cruel weight. Today, however, a powerful movement is underway. A movement led by indigenous communities determined to reclaim their ancestral tongues, and in doing so, revitalize their cultural identity. This is not just a story of linguistic revival. It is a story of resilience, a testament to the undying spirit of native communities who refuse to let their voices be lost to history. The destruction of California's indigenous languages was no accident. It was the result of systematic policies aimed at erasing native identity. During the Spanish Mission era, 1769–1833, indigenous people were forced into missions where they were punished for speaking their native tongues. Later, under American rule, native children were taken from their families and placed into boarding schools, where they were beaten and humiliated for speaking anything other than English. By the mid-20th century, California had lost over 90% of its indigenous languages. Some languages had only a handful of elderly speakers left. Others had become extinct, with no fluent speakers remaining. What had once been a land of rich linguistic diversity had become a landscape of silence, where oral traditions, once passed down through generations, were at risk of disappearing forever. But history has a way of turning tides, and today native communities are fighting back, reclaiming what was stolen from them. The effort to revive indigenous languages in California is being led not by institutions, but by the people themselves. Across the state, tribal communities are taking matters into their own hands, launching initiatives to breathe life back into their ancestral tongues. Language immersion schools. Several tribes, such as the Wukchumni and Yurok, have developed language immersion programs where children and adults alike are taught exclusively in their indigenous language. These schools mirror the way languages were traditionally learned, through conversation, storytelling, and community engagement. Mentor-apprentice programs. Recognizing that fluent speakers are rare, many tribes have developed mentorship programs where an elder fluent in the language works closely with a younger apprentice. This one-on-one approach not only preserves the language, but also fosters deep intergenerational bonds. Digital revitalization. Technology is playing a vital role in language preservation. Tribes are creating mobile apps, online dictionaries, and YouTube channels dedicated to teaching indigenous languages. The Kuruk tribe, for example, has developed a comprehensive online database for learners to study their language remotely. Many native communities organize weekly or monthly gatherings where people of all ages come together to practice speaking. These events help reinforce the language in daily life and create a shared sense of purpose. Recording the elders. Since fluent speakers are often elderly, many tribes have embarked on projects to record conversations, stories, and traditional songs. These recordings serve as invaluable resources for future learners. The process of language reclamation is deeply emotional. For many native people, reconnecting with their ancestral language is like reuniting with a long-lost relative. It is an act of healing, a way to mend the wounds inflicted by generations of cultural erasure. For elders, there is both joy and sorrow. Joy in seeing young people eager to learn, sorrow in remembering the pain of being punished for speaking their mother tongue. For younger generations, learning their native language is an act of defiance against historical oppression. It is a way to reclaim not just words, but an entire way of understanding the world. Many who embark on this journey speak of the moment when they first dream in their native language, or the first time they have a full conversation with a grandparent without switching to English. These are moments of triumph, small but profound victories against the tide of history. Despite the progress, the road to full language revitalization is filled with challenges. Many native languages in California remain critically endangered, with fewer than a dozen fluent speakers. Resources are often scarce, and government funding for these programs is limited. Another major challenge is that many younger Native people have grown up without exposure to their ancestral language. Reviving a language from near extinction requires immense dedication, and not every tribal member has the time or resources to commit to learning. Yet, despite these obstacles, hope prevails. Across California, tribal nations are proving that language is more than just words. It is identity, history, and sovereignty. Every new learner is a beacon of hope, ensuring that these languages will continue to live on. The fight to reclaim California's indigenous languages is more than just an academic exercise. It is a battle for cultural survival. These languages hold the wisdom of ancestors, the rhythm of ceremonial songs, and the stories of a people who have endured unimaginable hardship but continue to stand strong. To learn one's ancestral language is to step into the footsteps of those who came before, to hear the world as they once did, and to pass that knowledge forward. It is an act of resistance, a declaration of survival, and a promise that the voices of Native ancestors will never again be silenced. For every child who learns to say hello in their tribal language, for every elder who hears their mother tongue spoken once more, for every story that is shared and sung, California's indigenous languages are not lost. They are alive, and they are coming back. If this story moved you, don't let it end here. Like this video to show your support for language preservation. Comment below with your thoughts. What surprised you the most? Do you know any efforts to save endangered languages? Share this with your friends to spread awareness, and subscribe to our channel for more powerful stories about history, culture, and resilience. Together, we can help amplify these voices and keep their legacy alive.